Welcome to the Sub Hub Podcast. I'm Danny Moreno.
And I'm MK Sullivan. And in this episode, we talked to Sophia Laukli, who's a professional runner and Nordic skier representing Salomon International. She's currently based in Oslo, Norway. She made a remarkable entry into the trail running scene in 2022, securing a victory in her debut Golden Trail race at Stranda Fjord in Norway. In the 2023 Golden Trail World Series, she's already achieved an impressive win at Mont Blanc Marathon, followed by a second place at the Dolomyths Skyrace behind Judith Wider. And she also broke the course record at Mont Blanc Marathon, which was already pretty hot. Despite her exceptional performances, she could not race Sierre Zinal last year, so we are excited to see how she does this year. This episode is brought to you by Never Second. Never Second is a system of fueling products formulated specifically for endurance athletes that provides a blueprint for success by allowing the athletes to test, optimize, and perfect their fueling and hydration. They take the guesswork out of performance fueling. I personally use Never Second on all of my training runs and my races, and I have no GI issues, and you know exactly how many carbohydrates you're taking in based on the names of the products themselves. If you want to try Never Second out, go ahead and use code SUBHUB25 to get 25% off of your purchase.
Hi, Sophia. We are so excited to have you. First off, huge congratulations on an incredible summer thus far. First place at Mont Blanc Marathon, second place at the Dolomyths Skyrace. How is your body feeling right now post those races?
Yeah, my body's definitely taken a toll. I think Mont Blanc especially, I finished that race and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can ever do a marathon again. That is a whole another beast to me. And so, yeah, luckily Dolomites took a little bit less out of me. I'm doing okay, but I definitely feel I was racing Caitlin this past weekend and she's done triple of what I've done. And now I'm sensing that, okay, yes, running really can do a number to your body. So anyways, so far, okay, but I'm definitely feeling it. Yeah.
Was Mont Blanc Marathon your longest race so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess other than the stage race, but.
Yeah. No, I think the longest I had done before was around 30K. And that's exactly the moment in the race where I was like, oh no, how on planet Earth will I do 15 or whatever more K? Like everyone says, I was warned and it lived up to that. But yeah, that was really hard for me to get to the finish line. Wow.
Yeah. I feel like that's normal when you bump up in distance, and you still did an incredible job, got the course record, even despite a little bit, the course did change a little bit, after in the beginning part, you guys did a little detour due to a farmer being upset. But yeah, that's great. I mean, let's, like you said, take it day by day now. But what we are really excited to talk about is that you do have another race on the calendar, which is Sierre Zinal. You originally were supposed to do this race last year post the Norway race, where in your debut race, she won, for those who don't know. And everyone was very, very excited for you to show up, but then you got COVID, which derailed those plans. So how does it feel to be able to actually be going to the race this year?
Oh, I'm so excited. And especially since it's the 50th edition, I just feel it's the year to do it. It's going to be, I mean, I've only ever seen it from afar, but it seems like such a huge event. And I think Mont Blanc was the first super iconic race that I had done. And I just feel Sierre is also on that level and I can only be bigger this year. So I'm really excited. For me, that race is obviously I want to do very well, but to me, I'm kind of more excited just about the actual race itself. Maybe not so much I need this result for me to be happy. I think I have no idea if it's going to be a suitable race for me. I've heard what other people think and I've heard both sides of what other people think. But I'm just really excited. I've never done a race like that. And it's cool to do these races that you've heard so much about. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that I can find my Mont Blanc crazy fitness and have that there. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a really sweet event.
Well, you have established yourself as one of the better climbers, I would say, in this series. at the moment. And so I think that, yeah, it's definitely a race that's going to suit you. That double VK at the beginning, nice and painful, but right up your alley, I think. The women's side is going to be crazy competitive this year, especially like from the American side. Like we have a lot of women that are going to do, I think, really well. We had a lot of women do well last year, but there's even more this year. So I'm curious, like, if that brings you any kind of motivation, like having other Americans on the starting line and trying to get as many as you can, like into that top 10.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching last year and I think it was like 3 American women in the top 10. And like, it's cool because for coming from skiing, like it is very like, it's more team oriented, I would say, than running. And that was like the first, like I wasn't even there, but it was like the first encounter. I was like, oh, you can kind of have a team approach sometimes. And like, especially like, yeah, we're all on different brands or whatever, but in a race like Sierre, and I think this year, especially, like it would be super cool to have like one of the like motivations to have as many like top women or US women in the top 10. And I think it's like, yeah, it's like just a very like unique kind of like sense of accomplishment. I feel like just like, I don't know, the US is not known necessarily for trail running. And it is like so cool to like make a statement like that. And yeah, wow. Like I have no doubt that there's going to be an insane amount of US women in the top. Like that's so cool. And it is like nice that like, yeah, we're all competitive, whatever. But it's like something that's nice to have, like, say your own race doesn't go as well. Like there's like something else to fight for in this particular race, I guess.
I love that. Yeah, I am a big fan of that as well. Even though we're all on different brands, it's great to see America top 10, top 5, even winning some of these races. It's hard not to cheer for that at times, especially like you said, since I feel that in recent years we are becoming more dominant, but we aren't necessarily giving that credit all the time. And so it's cool to kind of reinforce like, no, we are here to stay and we can win these races. I'm curious what your training has looked like, kind of leading into Mont Blanc and then the transition into Dolomites. But now that you have a longer period of time, if you're going to like tweak anything going into Sierre Zinal.
Yeah. So like, I feel like I came off last running season, like, oh, I think I need to like really focus my training a bit more on running because I felt like I ended the year like a bit off and maybe gave that credit to too much ski training. But then like this spring and whatever, I tested kind of focusing more on running and I don't know, like it did not really like give me the benefit that I wanted. And I ended up just like going all back to like full on ski training. Like it wasn't that I stopped caring about like, oh, Mont Blanc and preparing for that, but I just felt like my typical ski training was going to be the best method. And so I just did my normal roller skiing, whatever. I obviously ran, but like, I don't know, that looked like a couple times a week. I would do like some longer runs that are long for me. But it wasn't like specific training for Mont Blanc. I think I had a very, very good, like I was very rested and then just had a really large base of training of roller skiing, biking, running. And so like, I going into Mont Blanc, I had no idea. Like I was very, very nervous because I hadn't done any racing and I honestly had not done that much running. And so I was like not super confident that I was going to be in great running shape. And then obviously proved that wrong. And I was like pretty excited about that because then I had kind of figured out what training worked. And that like ski training personally works very well. So then I kind of just did the same thing into the Dolomyths run. Although I had like I had mentioned, Mont Blanc like really took it out of me, my body. And so I was like having some foot ankle issues. And so I actually just didn't run until Dolomyths, which isn't like I have gone 2-3 weeks without running before, just out of like, I don't know, no reason, but that happens to happen sometimes. And so I was just doing a lot of roller skiing, and I like felt good leading in to the week before Dolomyths. And then I ended up getting like some weird sickness, some like flu situation, thought it was COVID again. And I was like, this is very much deja vu. So that was like beginning of the week before Dolomyths. But I wasn't feeling like, I was like, I feel like I'll have enough time to get better before the race. So I obviously went, and I was just feeling like, I definitely raced the Dolomyths not in like peak health. But that was definitely a bummer, because I really wanted to see if I could, like, I don't know, it's hard to like compare like and repeat a Mont Blanc race and see if my like running abilities maintained throughout that time. But it was just a bummer to like, not feel 100%. But I was honestly super surprised, and then very happy with like being able to pull off what I did in the Dolomyths, because it was like I'd never done a race like that before, like the technical whatever. And it was definitely feeling like the altitude and everything. Like I guess I'm someone that really doesn't think too much about, it's not that I'm not intentional with my training, but I just like kind of go with the flow and do what's familiar. And I'm lucky enough that it kind of works 90% of the time.
Yeah, for sure. So a question that I had, I'm kind of curious. You're done with your NCAA career now, but last year when you were racing, you were still an NCAA athlete. I remember listening to you talk about racing at Stranda, and, you like hammered that uphill, got ahead of everybody by like a ton of time. And then you like were pretty cautious on the downhill because it was like very technical. And so I'm curious, now that you're no longer a scholarship athlete and it's kind of like, it's on you, it's not on a team anymore, are you less cautious, or are you, a little bit more dangerous, less cautious on the downhills, because it's just kind of like, well, I don't have like a ski team that I have to show up for?
I don't know what the motive or the reason, but I definitely am less cautious. I think for like multiple reasons. Like Stranda was just my first taste of anything that was not a nice gravel path. So I was like, I was so scared of that race. And it wasn't like, I mean, I intentionally went I was cautious, but I was maxed out speed wise. I was like, I literally was tiptoeing over that stuff because I couldn't go any faster. And it was cool to see like my progression throughout last year. And then like Mont Blanc obviously was like pretty chill in the technical aspect. And so I was curious with the Dolomyths, like I had heard all the like drama of how technical and scary it is. And so I was definitely nervous going into that because like, I feel like it's the type of thing that like you kind of need to practice it in order, like once you go a very long time without like going on technical or like practicing that ability, then it can get very rusty. But I think last weekend that was like the biggest takeaway for me from that race was like how much I sent that downhill. Like maybe not compared to all the other runners, but like personally, I was like, I've never done that before. And I was really psyched about that. It was cool. Like I mentioned it in a couple of the interviews after, like I definitely had way more fun on that downhill than the uphill, which never happens. So it was really cool to have that feeling.
Well, despite you not being 100%, that was an incredible result. And personally, I would not walk Karina Creso behind me, and you held her off. That'd be terrifying. And then, Judith barely put time on you, and Judith is regarded as one of the best downhill runners of all time, like consistently. So yes, you fully sent that downhill very well. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
And so going to Sierre Zinal now. This is going to be the third race of Golden Trail World Series this year for you. And right now you have a first and you have a second, which very, very strong points, puts you in a strong position for podium overall already for the end of the year. Where does this fit in your overall schedule? Is the plan to just do 3 Golden Trail World races and then, do the final, or are you planning to go to the US afterwards?
I'm hesitant to say, but I'm probably going to do all the rest of the races. Well, we'll see, but I'm definitely going to do Sierre and at least one of the American races. I haven't decided which one, but for me, I think the US races, I have the potential for just like a better result maybe. But I'm not choosing all my races just on like for like the overall, and for that, like I want to do races that I want to do as well. So that's why I'm kind of doing Sierre. And like it could go really well, but I'm not like putting a lot of weight on that race. And so I'd rather have, one or both of the American races to like focus a bit more on getting the points for the overall. But I do know that doing, it will be 5. If I do all of them, 5 races is definitely kind of a lot. And I want to be good for the final as well. And I also want to not be terrible for my ski season. So I think this is where my like lack of experience and knowledge around trail running sometimes gets the best of me. And it's not that I don't have any guidance, and like I'm getting a lot of helpful like advice from people, but I have a hard time saying no and like being on the sideline. So I wouldn't be too surprised if I just did the rest of the races.
I think you just got to take it day by day and listen to your body. I mean, the most important thing is that you come out of this like whole thing healthy. So just make sure you are listening and doing what feels good to you and not just doing it to say you did all 5.
Yeah. No.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But we're so excited to see you race at Sierre Zinal. I hope you're excited to race. Sounds like you are. And we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today about the race.
Of course. Thank you guys.
Yes. Hopefully we will be chatting with you afterwards too.
That'll happen.
Can I sneak in one more question?
Yeah.
Sorry. Like we said, to our listeners, we are trying not to make these super long, but it's hard when you have amazing athletes and people in front of you. Sophia, are there any parts of the course that you're most excited for? And do you have any like strategy or goals you're willing to share for the race?
Oh, this is going to be very telling about myself, but I've learned that I'm abnormal and that I look at course profiles the day before the race. So I have no idea what Sierre Zinal looks like.
Cool.
And I think I need to like change that. But so far, like that's been my go-to, is to be like, all right, let's look at this the night before. So I will have a response eventually, maybe.
All right. Well, thanks again, Sophia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Sub Hub podcast. I'm MK Sullivan.
And I'm Danny Moreno. And in this episode, we talk with Philaries Kisang, a member of the Run Together team based in Kenya. Philaries was second at Sierre Zinal last year and was the second place finisher at the World Championships VK this year in Innsbruck, Austria. Last year, she raced Thyon-Dixence the week before Sierre Zinal, and this year she's not, so she's coming in a bit more fresh. We're excited about her because she's incorporated a lot of changes into her training. This entire summer, she's been based in Austria, and she's coming in very confident and eager to take the overall win.
This episode is brought to you by Never Second. Never Second is a system of fueling products formulated specifically for endurance athletes that provides a blueprint for success by allowing the athletes to test, optimize, and perfect their fueling and hydration. They take the guesswork out of performance fueling. I personally use Never Second on all of my training runs and my races, and I have no GI issues. And you know exactly how many carbohydrates you're taking in based on the names of the products themselves. If you want to try Never Second out, go ahead and use code SUBHUB25 to get 25% off of your purchase. Hey, Philaries, thanks for joining us today. So you were second at this race last year. How do you feel coming back this year?
Yes, I will come this year because the training I am doing now is very, very good than last year. Yes.
So you're feeling pretty confident, ready to kind of head out for the win this year, maybe?
Yes, I must win to become number one.
We love the confidence. So you currently are ranked third in the World Mountain Running Cup. Is that your focus this year, considering that Sierre Zinal is part of the World Mountain Running Cup? Or are you going to switch focus to the Golden Trail World Series?
I was number 3 in the World Cup, but now I must win.
Nice.
Yes.
Are you going to compete in the Golden Trail World Series after Sierre Zinal, like you did last year?
You know, last year I do second. The first one I done Sierre Zinal. The following I done Madeira. So this year now I must go hold all the series.
Nice. So you come to America for the last 2 races for Pikes Peak and Mammoth Trail Festival?
America. No.
Okay. So
no visa for Austria, for US, for America.
Yeah, I've heard that can be a bit of a process. Patrick told us that he got his visa, but that's a bummer that you haven't been able to get yours. But that's all right. You're still having a great season. So have you changed anything in your training going into this year for the race?
Yes, I changed because last year I go in Kenya, but in Austria I do a lot of hill. Yes.
Yeah. So you've added a lot of hill training to your workouts just by moving locations to Austria, being in the Alps.
Yes.
Well, that is terrifying and amazing considering how well you were doing without a lot of hill training. So I'm sure the competitors will be shaking in their boots maybe a little bit more this time around. I know I would be. As far as training, do you also train with a group? And if so, which group is that?
Yes.
Do you have a training group or do you mostly train by yourself?
No, I have a training because I join a group of run together.
Nice.
Are any of your other teammates going to be, any of your other female teammates going to be running Sierre Zinal?
Yes, I must go with the groups. Patrick and the Philemon.
Oh, nice.
Philemon. Cool.
Dang, you guys are a scary bunch in the best way possible. That is 3 very strong runners to be sending from one training group. Are there any key sessions or new training sessions that you're doing in Austria that you really like and enjoy?
Yes, I would like and enjoy. Mountain race.
I love it.
or training race.
Yes, definitely. Have you been to Austria before this?
Yes.
Have you been to Austria before this year?
First time.
Wow, that's incredible. And you got second in the VK. which is also incredible considering you just started incorporating more hill training into your, or more hills into your training. So considering that you were under 3 hours last year for Sierre Zinal, which that is a very top mark to do in your first race. But also last year, you ran a race the week before. You ran Thyon-Dixence in France, and you won that race. And then you went to Sierre Zinal. So you did 2 races. Are you going to do that again?
Are you going to run Thyon-Dixence before you run Sierre Zinal?
No.
No.
This year, no.
This year
Okay.
you're just focusing on Sierre Zinal. Cool.
Dang, that's awesome.
Is there a part of the race that you're most excited for?
Yes, I mountain was excited, but a lot of stiff. I become a past 10 down. No.
Oh man, see, I'm the opposite. I look forward to the flat and the down, and she's over here looking forward to the steep part.
Well, you got the silver medalist in the VKI. I mean, I guess I would expect that answer. That's amazing. And then you already said that your goal is to win this race. Do you have a goal as far as time? Do you want to try and go after, say, the course record?
Yes, I wanted to become a world champion in the world.
I love it.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we will be cheering for you big time at Sierre Zinal.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, thanks, Philaries.
And I greet all people in the world. Thanks.
Yes, please do.
Especially in my team.
Yes.
Run together.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Yeah, definitely watch out for Run Together. 3 for 3. Don't count them out. Welcome to the Sub Hub Podcast. I'm Danny Moreno.
And I'm MK Sullivan. And in this preview, we have Yao Miao, who is a professional runner for Salomon International from Wuhan, China. Miao won CCC in 2018 and is an extremely dominant Chinese trail runner in the whole Chinese trail running scene. She wins pretty much everything she touches there. At 23 years young, she set the CCC course record that was not broken until this last year when Blondine ran it. Recently, she was second at the Mont Blanc Marathon behind Sophia Laukli and is continuing her 2023 campaign at Sierre Zinal. This episode's a little different than normal. We employed a volunteer translator from Free Trail Pro. Shout out to Free Trail Pro members. And Jian Jing really helped us a ton with this. Go give him a follow on Strava on Instagram. He was awesome. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. This episode is brought to you by Never Second. Never Second is a system of fueling products formulated specifically for endurance athletes that provides a blueprint for success by allowing the athletes to test, optimize, and perfect their fueling and hydration. They take the guesswork out of performance fueling. I personally use Never Second on all of my training runs and my races, and I have no GI issues, and you know exactly how many carbohydrates you're taking in based on the names of the products themselves. If you want to try Never Second out, go ahead and use code SUBHUB25 to get 25% off of your purchase.
Hi, Yao Miao. We're so excited to have you today.
欢迎欢迎来到这个面试。
So you were recently second at Marathon Mont Blanc this year. How are you feeling after the race?
您今年在蒙布朗马拉松比赛中取得了第2名，赛后感觉如何？
还可以吧，就是第一次就是时隔这么多年第一次到 越野赛，就是国际上的这个越野赛道吧，然后取得这个名次还是比较满意的。
So she said that she's very happy about her she's very happy about her results, especially after so many years. She finally gets a chance to do very well on the international scene.
So you won CCC before, but this year you're moving down in distance with Mont Blanc Marathon, Sierre Zinal, and OCC. Why the change?
您曾经赢过 CCC， 但今年你选择了参加较短距离的蒙布朗马拉松、Sierre Zinal 和 OCC， 这是什么原因呢？
因为我这几年都在练马拉松，然后我个人的速度上比较好一些吧，就是没有拉太长的距离，所以耐力会稍微差一些，所以在速度上的话我会好一些，所以我就会选择这个短距离。
So she says that she feels that in the recent years she has been focusing on the marathon distance, and she also feels that she is better in terms of speed work. So she wants to have a try at focusing on these shorter distances.
That's cool.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be going well so far.
看起来你的成绩是很好。
觉得还行。
I think it's going okay.
So,
very humble.
Considering that you did Mont Blanc and Sierre Zinal, do you plan on attending the Golden Trail World Series final?
因为你今年已经跑了这个蒙布朗马拉松跟 Sierre Zinal， 那么你今年会打算参加这个 Golden Trail World Series 的决赛吗？
总决赛还在考虑，但是可能它会与我的锦标赛，就是马拉松的锦标赛有冲突，所以去的几率不大。
She says that she's still considering, but the dates of the finals might clash with a marathon that she will be running. So there's only a small chance that she might attend the finals.
Which marathon?
是哪个马拉松？
北京马拉松。
The Beijing Marathon.
Awesome.
Is she trying to qualify for her team's Olympic team in the marathon?
你跑这个马拉松是为了是想能够录取你这个中国的马拉松队吗？
不是，因为我现在本来就是专业队的运动员，那个是属于一个体制内的比赛。
Okay, so she is it's not because she wants to qualify for the Olympic team, but because she is currently part of the professional running team in China. So this is one of the races that they are going for.
That's cool.
So this will be your first time racing Sierre Zinal. Why did you decide to include it in your calendar this year?
这是您第一次参加 Sierre Zinal 马拉松比赛，那为什么你今年决定想参加呢？
因为我觉得这个比赛的关注度蛮高，然后挑战也比较大嘛，就是对手也比较强劲。
She feels that it's because this race has a huge viewership, and it is a very difficult race with very strong competition, so she wants to give it a try.
That's probably one of the best explanations we've gotten. To be honest.
他说这是他们第一次听到这么好的回答。
We saw that, or we've seen that you've been racing on the track recently. One, do you enjoy racing on the track? And two, is that to complement your training for Sierre Zinal?
我们看到您最近参加了一些田径比赛，那么第一个问题是想知道你对这个田径比赛你是喜欢跑田径比赛吗？然后第二是你跑这个田径比赛是为了训练你Sierre Zinal比赛的速度部分吗？
比这个比赛一个是内的任务，还有一个呢是这个比赛是我开始不太喜欢，因为我觉得它的氛围比较紧张。然后呢，现在我喜欢，是我觉得它比较刺激，就是它在这个里面呢会包含很多就是战术这个东西，所以我觉得它比较有意思。
She said that at the start she didn't really like these track races, But now she finds it a lot more exciting, and because it involves a lot of tactics and things can happen at a very high pace, so she's starting to find her liking for it.
Yeah, I think you can learn a lot for these shorter trail races on the track for sure.
他是说你跑这些短的，他本身认为你跑这些比较短一点的田径比赛会带给你很多帮助，对于这些比较短的越野比赛。
确实是有一些帮助，因为可以练到我的这个速度上的一些能力的东西。
Yeah, she definitely agrees, and it's because she can improve on her speed legs.
Yeah. She mentioned a group, like racing with a group at the marathon. Does she train with a group normally?
他们想知道之前你提了是说你跑这个马拉松是跟这个队一起跑的，那么你平时训练也是跟他们一起训练呢，还是会自己有自己的训练？
自己有自己的训练，因为我们虽然在国内它都叫体制，但是其实是分开的，就是每个省是每个省的，他们不会就是说聚集到一起训练。
So she says that this 体制 group that she runs with, it's only a group that comes together to race. So most of the time she's training alone.
Are there any key training sessions that you will do before the race that you're excited about?
你本身的赛前最重要的训练有哪些？
现在才开始准备，然后就在这个月初吧，4号、5号我就会飞到厦门里去，开始准备这个训练，然后再会先去比那个瑞士的那个黄金联赛，也当一个拉练。
She says that she is only just starting her preparations, but at the start of in the next couple of days she'll fly over to Chamonix to participate in a race in Switzerland. Yeah, that will be part of her preparations.
Oh, cool. Is it a shorter race? Which race is it?
这个比赛你知道它的英文名字吗？
UTMB 还是你说的是那个瑞士？
是瑞士的这个。
是黄金联赛，我不太清楚，我看一下。
联赛。
OK， 我看一下。我之前我品牌的人给我讲过，我现在需要看一下。
She has to check about it. She just heard about it from her Salomon team.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
好像还真没有，找不到。那个比赛我不知道。我不知道，但是黄金联赛的第3站。
黄金联赛第3站。
对。
The third stop of the Golden Trail World Series.
Oh, I think it's Sierre Zinal.
Yeah.
Sierre Zinal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she's going over to take Sierre Zinal as part of her preparations.
For OCC, maybe.
For OCC,
okay.
Yes.
Cool.
That's awesome.
That's a great tune-up race for OCC. That's what Danny did last year, actually.
Yeah. Which
说这个肯定是一个很会帮助你的比赛嘛，因为这个 Danny 也是去年跑了，跟你这样做个同类的准备。
去做一个就是去跑一下这个比赛，主要是让自己的肌肉适应这种短距离的越野赛的这么一个转换的过程，去体验一下这个比赛。
Yeah, she's very focused on getting her muscles used to these short trail races.
Yeah. So our podcast is focused on highlighting shorter races, and we just want to say how brave it is of you and really cool that you went from longer races and now you're going back to shorter races. How are you feeling about that?
他说他们做这些面试主要就是 给这些就让世界看你们这些跑比较短距离的比赛的，尤其是越野比赛的一些人。然后他也觉得你自己本身是一个很勇敢，也很厉害，因为你之前你是跑这些特别长的这些 ultra 比赛，但你现在又开始挑战这些比较短距离的，那你自己对这些有什么看法呢？
就是想尝试各个组别吧，也去见识这个各个领域里面的高手他们是如何去比赛，然后在这个比赛中是如何的这种速度上的转换吧。因为有很多就是跑这种长距离的选手，他们去跑这个短距离也很厉害，然后他们跑那个短距离的选手呢，他们来跑这个长距离也很厉害，所以我也想去体验一下，就是跟我之前参加过的不同的组别的这种速度的变换吧。
So she says that she is very interested in learning about the different tactics that the different athletes uses, be it from the long distances or the shorter distances. Because she has seen that people are able to do it, are able to transition from the shorter races to the longer races and do very well, and vice versa. So she wants to be able to do the same.
I love it. And final question would be, do you have any specific goals for the race?
所以给你的最后一个问题就是你这个比赛中有什么特别的目标吗？
For Sierre Zinal specifically.
然后你目前想要去瑞士比的这场比赛？
先定个简单点的吧，拿个前3。
She says that she's going for the top 3.
Nice.
Hell
I
yeah.
love it.
We think that's a very reasonable goal.
Yes.
对你来说很合理的一个目标。
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Yao Miao, for joining us today. It's been awesome to have you on, and we'd love to have you again at some point later this year. And MK and I will see you on the line at OCC because we will also be racing that.
说非常非常感谢你参加我们这个采访，然后就希望你跑得很顺利。然后今年你跑这个 OCC 呢，他们2位也会在跟你一起开始跑，所以到时候见。
是吗？好啊。8月底见。
She said, see you at the end of August.
Yeah. Awesome.
Welcome to the SubHub podcast. I'm MK Sullivan.
And I'm Danny Moreno. And in this preview episode, we talk with Emelie Forsberg. Emelie is a true legend of the sport. She is a professional runner for Normal, based in Rama, Norway, and a co-founder of Moon Valley Sports Nutrition. She has many notable wins at a lot of historic races, including Zagama, Transvolcania, Mont Blanc Marathon, and Tromsø Skyrace. But what most people may know her for is she has 4 back-to-back World Skyrunning Series overall wins. This will be her first time racing Sierre Zinal, so she shares some insight as to why she chose this year out of all the years of her career, as well as some insight to balancing being a mom and a professional runner.
This episode is brought to you by Never Second. Never Second is a system of fueling products formulated specifically for endurance athletes that provides a blueprint for success by allowing the athletes to test, optimize, and perfect their fueling and hydration. They take the guesswork out of performance fueling. I personally use Never Second on all of my training runs and my races, and I have no GI issues, and you know exactly how many carbohydrates you're taking in based on the names of the products themselves. If you want to try Never Second out, go ahead and use code SUBHUB25 to get 25% off of your purchase.
Hi, Emelie. We are so excited to have you here today. Personally, for me, you are a legend of the sport. So it's just it's a huge honor to have you on today. But our first question is, you have never done Sierre Zinal before. Why this year?
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to be here. And it was very nice to meet you in Eiger. I think it was the first time we talked. And MK, I didn't meet you at the World Champs, but I knew that you were there. So
I have
very nice to be here.
I have a picture of the two of us from like my first international race in Sweden. So this feels very like full circle.
Was it in Fjell Marathon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. Oh, cool. That's nice. Oh, sorry. No,
that's
but
okay.
Yeah, why do I want to do Sierre Zinal? It's because, yeah, as you said, I've been in the sport for so long. Oh my God. And the first year, I think it was 13 years ago, I was thinking, I want to race Sierre Zinal. And then it just never happened. And then I told Kilian, I really want to do it. Because it's a race that really doesn't really fit me. It's a pretty flat, runnable race. And I just said to him that I really want to do it just now and try to train a little bit more for it so I'm not going to suffer like the whole way. So, I'm super excited to be there because it's a special race. It's, it has been, it's the 50 years anniversary, so a little long.
Well, I know that you train with like a bunch of athletes where you guys live. So I'm curious, do you have like training with Ida Nielsen? Do you kind of pull her up on these climbs right now and she's kind of pulling you through flat workouts? Are you guys working together to
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it works. It's actually really good. And as you said, we have some Johanna and Henriette. So we often we can help each other. Like I'm stronger in the uphills mostly, and Ida is stronger on the flat. So we just did like a 20K run the other day where she was setting the pace and I could just follow. And then we did some 400-meter track reps, and I was a bit fresher, so I could go a bit faster there. And it's really nice to help each other and have the company.
Seems like the perfect training partner for the Sierre Zinal race.
Yeah.
So besides being on the track a little more, are you changing anything? Because I know you're also signed up for CCC, which is a few weeks after. So are you gearing training more towards Sierre Zinal versus CCC, or trying to mix both of them in there?
No, I think I'm just training to get back to ultras, a bit longer distances. And I think the training I do for Sierre Zinal, it will help me on CCC as well, because it's so runnable, the trails down there. And you need to kind of have the speed as well. And then after Sierre Zinal, I will do a bit more. I will do 2 days, 50 kilometers. And that will be the training for CCC.
Cool. Have you done any specific workouts that you're really excited about leading into Sierre Zinal?
Wouldn't say I'm excited for them. It's more I plan a hard session that I know will be good for Sierre Zinal, and then I get it done. And afterward, it's yes. And then it has been actually a few on the mountain that we were talking about before, Näsaxla, which is in the closest village. So we often do that 2 times 700 meters, and then can go for a 10K flat, a harder run out straight after, or a variation of it, 1 time up, 1 time 5K, up 5K, or something like that.
Okay. And when you say 700 meters, you mean you're going up 700 meters in elevation, right?
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Wow. Okay. Nice.
A little spicy there. So I'm guessing you've been to Sierre Zinal, you've watched the race before, maybe a couple of times. Can you explain to our listeners why you think it's such a special race for, trail running and mountain running?
Yeah, first it's an old race, and that often creates a really nice ambience. It's people hearing about it, that they want to do it. And it's also a big open class. It's so many people running it, which is really, really, really nice, I think. And it's also a bit where the trail runners meet mountain runners, and maybe even some road runners. So it's always always very deep, the fields. And it's, the ambience there, it's amazing. I only been there once actually, and that was when our youngest daughter were newborn. So I wasn't really super sharing because it's also so loud. But I've seen it, and Kilian have been running it many times, and I know what it is. So I'm really looking forward.
Is there any specific part of the course that you're most excited for?
I'm excited for all the race. Like I know that I will push, but I think I will be able to enjoy it as well, because I'm kind of settled in my mind that like it's at the moment it's really not my kind of race. I'm doing it because I want to push my own limits and explore the race. So I think I will find a good balance between like pushing really hard and trying to enjoy it. I'm excited for all.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very healthy mindset too, for just like any race, just going in ready to enjoy the experience and take it all in. Like you mentioned, you were there when you had your first child or first daughter. Are they going to be coming this year? Or I noticed they weren't at Eiger. And so I was just wondering when you decide like when to bring the whole family, considering that you're balancing being a mom and a professional athlete.
Yeah, they will come. It's Eiger was actually the first race that, or the first time both Kilian and me were away from them. And that was like 2 nights. So that was, it was so peaceful in a way. Like I could just lay there in the bed and like relax and rest, which was awesome. But we love to bring them. And when we have the opportunity, we try to work around like how, so they have a good time as well, but they will come.
I remember the race that I ran in Sweden. My husband did the VK, and you also did the VK that day. And I saw Kilian just like hauling your kids up in this like off-road Thule up this VK route. And I was like, these kids have to be having the time of their lives out there. Do they enjoy it?
Yeah, they love it. Like the last, I sometimes go for a run with them, and especially the little one now just love to come along and be out in the trolley. So
yeah. Looking at your career, you've had a very long, fruitful career prior to kids, and then now having kids. What would you say, maybe some advice or wisdom you would give to some moms that are in the same situation of maybe adjustments that you've made in your life for like prepping for races and being at races with kids?
First, I think it's really important to really like open your mind up that it doesn't need to be a certain way, because many ways can be really good, even though you have like, I would like to do this before a race. Probably that will never happen with kids, and that's fine. Like you just need to work around it, see other solutions and other ways. And then I think the most like the best advice is that I'm also trying to live myself, that sometimes can be really hard, is to just be very present. Like you don't need to do everything. Like for some years or some months, you can really just try to decrease other things that you need to do and put a priority list. What do you want to prioritize? Like, I'm an athlete, I want to prioritize this. And then maybe the rest can just follow along and stay present with the children. I think that's what I'm trying to live.
Sounds balanced and much healthier than maybe some of our like mindsets when it comes to training and racing.
It's not easy to live. It's really, it's like you really, because I'm that kind of person that like, I really like to do a lot of things. And I felt awful when I couldn't do it. But then I just like, I needed a shift. I needed to find another balance. So it was needed to change something.
It seems to be working. I mean, you crushed Worlds this year. You like ran an amazing race at Eiger. So the forced balance is it's doing good.
Thank you.
No, I think it's going very well. And I'm sure it's beautiful to be in like a slightly different phase of your life too, sharing that as an entire family. Where does, since you're doing Sierre Zinal for the first time, and then you have CCC, what does kind of like the rest of the year look like after that? Or are you just solely focused on the next month for now?
Yeah, I was just talking to Ida about it. And I think that if I'm I'm happy with my performance at CCC. And I don't know, like, if I'm just, it depends, like different factors. You know, you can be happy with the race and you finish the last one, but so it depends. But if I'm happy with the race, I think I will finish the season then, and try to focus on the ski mountaineering season, because I haven't done that for some years, and I'm a bit intrigued just to see, going back to the World Cups, maybe a few or one or something, maybe a longer race too. So we'll see a little bit after CCC.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we're excited to see how this plays out for you, and also excited to see you at CCC again, getting back up into those ultra distances.
Yeah, no, definitely excited, and we can't wait to cheer you on, and we'll see you at UTMB week for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome to the Sub Hub Podcast. I'm Danny Moreno.
And I'm MK Sullivan. And in this preview, we chat with Nienke Brinkman, who is a professional runner for Nike and the NN running team based in Zurich, Switzerland. She earned the name the Flying Dutch Woman during her debut in the Golden Trail World Series in 2021, where she placed second at Sierre Zinal behind Maud Mathis, who would break the course record on that day. She then went on to win multiple Golden Trail World Series races, including the overall crown in 2022. Coming in this year with the second fastest marathon time in Dutch history, as well as the second fastest time on this course. She's a strong favorite for the win, and we look forward to watching her race. This episode is brought to you by Never Second. Never Second is a system of fueling products formulated specifically for endurance athletes that provides a blueprint for success by allowing the athletes to test, optimize, and perfect their fueling and hydration. They take the guesswork out of performance fueling. I personally use Never Second on all of my training runs and my races, and I have no GI issues, and you know exactly how many carbohydrates you're taking in based on the names of the products themselves. If you want to try Never Second out, go ahead and use code SUBHUB25 to get 25% off of your purchase. Hey, Nienke, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, of course. We're glad to have you back. How has everything been since we last talked to you after Boston?
Good. I mean, I had a little issue with my hamstring, unfortunately. So I had to drop out of the Mont Blanc Marathon, which was very much of a pity. But in the end, I'm happy I didn't do it, because now I'm fully recovered and ready to go again.
Yeah, I think that's a great lesson and reminder to a lot of athletes that even if you really want to race, like niggles like that pop up can go away. And now, like you said, you're fully healed. So I think that's just a great example of making the right decision, even for a big race like that.
Yeah, and it's, it wasn't. I could have probably raced it, but you do have a high risk of then do something that you rupture it or make it bigger. And I think, sometimes you have to make a decision how important is this racing compared to the rest of the season. And for me, it then was better to not do it.
Yeah, it's always better to take a couple weeks off than get even more hurt and end up taking a year off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people are dying to know this, as well as NK and I, but with you pulling out of Mont Blanc and now about to do Sierre Zinal, are there plans to do any Golden Trail races after this? And just a reminder for all the listeners, Nienke was a very dominant champion last year in the series.
Yeah. So I would love to do more races and go to the final of the Golden Trail. But at the moment, my main goal this year is to qualify for the road marathon for the Olympics. And I will do a road marathon in the fall. So I kind of have no time to do more Golden Trail Series races, unfortunately. That's why it will only be Sierre Zinal. So that's like, needs to be a good one because it's only one race this season. So no, you won't see me later on in the Golden Trail.
Gotcha. So you were second the last time that you went to Sierre Zinal. You ran under the course record, but Maud obviously got her own course record again at that race. How excited are you to go back to Sierre Zinal and fight for the win this time around?
I'm super excited. I think especially because it has been 2 years, and that was actually the first race. There was actually a race for me where I kind of also surprised myself, and a lot has happened since then. So it will be a very different position for me to go in now. Now I'm like going in as a favorite, and then I was going in. Now nobody knew who I was, so I think it's a very special race to me. And yes, of course, I would like to go for the win, but I think more important is that I want to get really everything out of this race.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I remember you finishing second, and that's kind of when you got coined as the Flying Dutch Woman. I think that's when that slogan or phrase started to come around, because it was kind of just like, who is this woman? She's kind of coming out of nowhere, and she's behind Maud, still very much in her prime, but she was coming off of some really big years. And so for you to be so close to her definitely turned a lot of heads. And little did people know that was just the beginning. For trail running. And but yeah, it is crazy to think that this will be your only trail race this year, correct?
Yes, it's disappointing at the same time as well. I would have loved to do the Mont Blanc Marathon. That would have been a great one as well. But yeah, so I have to enjoy it a bit extra this time.
Yeah. The Olympics sound pretty cool too, though. So
yeah, if you're gonna miss some trail races to be an Olympian, yes, full support.
Yeah, well, that's the goal. It's a goal, but I didn't manage yet to qualify. So first I have to do it, and then I can work towards that.
Yeah, just to clarify for our listeners, Nienke has to run a specific time. She has to run the Olympic standard to have a chance to qualify for the Dutch team. And Boston did not count for that because of the point-to-point nature of the race, correct? Or was it the elevation profile of it? It's the point-to-point. Yeah, so she has to run another marathon to try to hit that time. So she's obviously very talented and can run that time. It's just being in the right place at the right time for sure.
Yeah.
Looking back at Sierre Zinal and then coming to this year, like you said, a lot has happened since then. That is fact. Nienke got the national record during that point. She became the Golden Trail World Series overall champion and set many course records and has won numerous races. Looking back to that Sierre Zinal, what kind of memories do you have of the course that you're looking to better this time?
Well, I do have one memory is that I didn't take enough water with me or drinks, that I was super, super, super thirsty. And I think since then I'm super afraid to have that feeling again. That's why I'm always carrying a lot of drinks with me. And I think this is something that I will do better this year. So that was something completely wrong. I'm looking forward for the climb. The first climb, it's like, it's 1,000-meter elevation gain in a very short time. I don't know exactly how many kilometers, but I'm actually looking forward to that part the most because, I just like climbing. And I'm looking forward to the area because it's very beautiful. And I think I live in Switzerland, but I don't come there very often. And I'm just looking forward to that as well. And also, I think that the competitors, they have changed a lot. Like we have a lot of new people coming in, and I think the field is super strong. And I'm just looking forward for a big fight or a big battle.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch the battle from afar this year.
From the comfort of the home.
From the comfort of my home.
Sometimes it's I guess nicer. It's nice to watch and horrible to do. But I think during you will probably feel that everybody's going hard for it.
Yeah, I would love to be on that line as well. It's nothing quite like, competing against such a deep field. That's when you get the most out of yourself. And yeah, as far as the water goes, it is at high altitude pretty much the entire time, and it's exposed, so it's really hot.
And it starts at like 11 a.m.
And it starts at such a weird time.
For
reasons
for TV.
Yes. So yeah, you could easily go in the morning and it'd probably be like 10 degrees cooler. But yeah, you start in the midst of the day. Speaking about the field, who are you excited to race that is racing?
So I think Sophia will be there, and Ellie, and I think that's great that they are there. And also now I think I will for the first time race Grayson Murphy. I don't know her very well. I met her quickly in the Flagstaff race last year, and I'm also really looking forward to race against her. She's super strong. I mean, obviously she's a world champion. I think it's so cool that we have a very deep women field this year, and that makes it super exciting. And you need to be sharp. You can't make many mistakes this year.
What do you feel that your strength on the course will be this year?
I think my strength is the uphill, but many people have this strength. So I guess also my speed in they call it flat sections. It's still a bit uphill, but I guess my speed can also help a lot there. I think those things are my strengths. And then you just need to hang on. Those flat sections are not even close to
they're not even flat.
And it's funny because I like previewed the course last year before I ran it, and I remember thinking like, oh yeah, I could run like pretty fast on this part, it'll be great. And then I got there and I was like, this is so much hillier now that I'm like halfway into this race than it was when I ran it fresh 4 days ago.
Yeah. No, it's not flat, but compared to the first uphill, okay, I understand you call this flat.
Yes, exactly. Classic mountain runners, runnable.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. As far as, again, you ran this race in 2021 for your first time, and now we're a couple years later. Has your training shifted to prepare for Sierre Zinal, or is it still mainly based on the road marathon since you're planning to do that this fall?
It's at the moment it's more focused on trail running. I always combine the two if I am not very in a specific phase yet. So then I combine the trail running and the road running. And now since Sierre Zinal is coming very close, it's more trail running. And I leave the real marathon specific blocks for afterwards. I will still have time, and I think it's a good prep for Sierre Zinal. But on the other hand, the speed trainings, they can help also in Sierre Zinal. So it's not that I am not doing any road training at the moment.
Yeah, my coach, when I trained for Sierre Zinal last year, told me that you had to be really ready to run a fast 10K as well as a fast VK to be like good at this race. And I was like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah,
and he was totally right.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I think he's right. It can really help to have a very good speed in this course, because it's not very technical. And me saying that, means it's not very technical.
Yeah, it's like carpet most of the time. But so can you tell us what marathon you're running this fall?
No, unfortunately not yet, but it will be announced soon.
Cool. Can't wait to find that out.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people can't wait to find that out. That'll be awesome. Well, Nienke, we are so excited to watch you at Sierre Zinal. Again, just like thinking that last time that was like your third trail race and you're under the course record. And with the people, the depth of the women's field this year, I think as an athlete, but also just a fan of the sport, we are just so excited to see you guys get the most out of each other. And personally, I think the course record's going down this year, and it's going to be like scary fast.
Me too.
Yeah, unless it's really, really hot. That's the only thing I could see potentially. Yeah.
That could be if it's August and you start at 11. That's tough, but I mean, the faster you run, the less time you spend in the heat, though.
Exactly.
Yes. It's as simple as that.
It's so simple.
I love it. Do you know what shoes you're going to be wearing for the race yet?
I think the new Nike shoe, the Nike Ultrafly, I think will be launched this week.
Cool.
Or coming like next week. Yeah, anyway, I think I will race in this shoe.
Nice. Is that a carbon shoe?
Yeah, it has a carbon plate in the front of the shoe.
Oh, cool.
By the time this episode is released, it'll be out for sure.
Yeah.
So then you can buy it online.
Sweet. Well, thank you for joining us today, and can't wait to see how you race.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Welcome to the SubHub podcast. I'm MK Sullivan.
And I'm Danny Moreno. And in this preview episode, we chat with a big fan favorite, Tabor Hemming. Tabor is a professional athlete for Salomon USA based in Kremlin, Colorado, along with her husband, Eli Hemming. Tabor is known for wrangling cows and also her uphill speed. She was the 2022 U.S. uphill champion and was also second overall at the Broken Arrow VK behind who would then be that year's VK world champion, Ali Mack. She was also fourth overall in the 27K in 2022. The highlight of her season last year was finishing in the top 10 at Sierre Zinal in her first international race ever, a feat not many other Americans have been able to accomplish. Tabor will be coming back this year with a lot more international experience and as the top American returning. We can't wait to see what she does.
This episode is brought to you by Never Second. Never Second is a system of fueling products formulated specifically for endurance athletes that provides a blueprint for success by allowing the athletes to test, optimize, and perfect their fueling and hydration. They take the guesswork out of performance fueling. I personally use Never Second on all of my training runs and my races, and I have no GI issues, and you know exactly how many carbohydrates you're taking in based on the names of the products themselves. If you want to try Never Second out, go ahead and use code SUBHUB25 to get 25% off of your purchase. Hey, Tabor, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's exciting.
Yeah, of course. How have you been feeling since Mont Blanc Marathon?
Been good. Like the first week after Mont Blanc felt like awful, absolutely awful. Running was just like, it hurt. So like Eli and I didn't do much of it. We like rode our bikes, we hiked, and then like now we're kind of back in the full swing of things. And it seems like race day is already here. So kind of was like build up and then, race is here.
Yeah, the summer does tend to go fast. I think also because there's so many other events you're paying attention to. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, it's my turn again. Time for me to go back.
Oh, we're traveling again. Oh,
yeah.
Oh crap.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially being in the States versus Europe. So you also did the double with Eli, Broken Arrow and then Mont Blanc. How did that experience go for you?
It was good. I think we both really liked it because we were viewing like Broken Arrow as kind of like a rest buster of like, get the nerves out, like feel that really hard race experience again. And then taking it as like a way to rest into the coming week instead of being like super antsy, like during the week of Mont Blanc and being like, oh, like, I want to do stuff. I want to do stuff. Instead, it was like, yeah, I can tell I ran downhill really hard twice during that lapped course. And so it was all like just recovery mode. So I actually really enjoyed it. It was a fun way to like break up the Mont Blanc taper in a way.
So the last time we spoke with you, we were talking about like your least favorite and most favorite races, and your least favorite race was Way Too Cool. So I was surprised to see you like running Mont Blanc Marathon because it's a similar amount of time on feet. So tell us a little bit about that decision.
Yeah, I guess like we've been doing more training like volume wise than I was ever used to, because like in college I was 815 with like during conference they shoved you in the 5K and you were like, this is really long. And so like this past year we've definitely done more like volume running, but also like cross training. And so it didn't seem as daunting as last year at Way Too Cool, where that was like the longest I've run distance and time wise by like a long ways. And so this year it was a bit more like, yeah, I think I can do this. And the course itself like made the race go by fast. Like you guys both, like the views there are incredible. Like you're just running, you're like, whoa, that's so cool. And you're like, whoa, this is so cool. I definitely felt at the last 30K for sure. Or like not 30K, from 30K on, I was like, this is long. I'm feeling this. But yeah, that was kind of the decision. Test it out, see if I liked it. But I did like it this time more than Way Too Cool.
Yeah. What's nice about Mont Blanc too is there's like clear sections there. I was laughing because I actually, after the first 10K, I was like, oh my gosh, we've already been running so fast. We still have 30K to go, because it's kind of runnable. And then you have the biggest climb, biggest descent, and then it's kind of like rolling up until the final descent. So it's like easy to like section it out in your mind, I think, for a longer race too. Yeah. And that was your like longest Golden Trail World Series race, and you got top 10. Congrats. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you know, a lot to learn from it, and it was just fun going over, and then having Eli have a really great day. So it was kind of like a nice, good couple weekend of like learning and succeeding.
Yes.
So you did mention in your Strava post about the race that you had some GI issues during the race. Is that something that you have been practicing going into Sierre Zinal?
Yeah, for sure. Most people like say, like, yeah, you shouldn't practice new things on race day. And I practiced a new thing on race day. I was like, maybe I should like pre-hydrate before this, because everyone's like, oh, you get to La Fougère, it's like super hot. And I was like, oh no, okay, like I'm gonna drink like in the morning before. And so I had like precision hydration in the morning, which I never do. I like have breakfast, I have some water and some coffee, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm like, okay, I'll pre-hydrate. And like, you guys, 30 minutes in, I was like, I have to go to a bathroom. Like, but all the camera guys were like following us. And I was like, there's no place to go to the bathroom. So I held it until like 30K. Like it was awful. And I was like praying for uphills, because uphills, like I could manage it. And then downhills, I was like, this is it. Like, no, I got to go into the bushes. So finally I get away from cameramen before we start going up the La Fougère climb. And like I dart into the bushes. That is the one moment that Eli passes me because they put the men behind. And I was like, there's my chance to like tell him good job and like see him on course. So like I go to the bathroom and I like sprint out of the bushes and I put on this huge surge to catch him. And I'm like, hey, good job. And he was like, what the? Like, where'd you come from? And I was like, I was in the bushes. So I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to like stick to what I do and like hydrate during the race like I'm used to. Yeah, lessons learned.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. You know, it sounded like a good idea in the moment to pre-hydrate though too. And I was like, this is a great idea. And then my body was like, yeah, you don't do that. We're not hydrators, remember?
Oh goodness. Well, you were second American last year at Sierre Zinal, ended up being 9th place. How are you feeling going back into the race Bailey Kowalczyk's not going this year, so you are like the top returning contender.
Okay, I didn't know Bailey wasn't going. That's a bummer.
I'm pretty sure she's not. I don't know that that's a confirmed thing, but I have not seen anything from her. So yeah, how are you feeling going back into this race?
I'm excited. I'm glad to know what it is this year. Like last year, I feel like you only can learn so much from a course profile. And like, then not until you're on it do you realize like what you're actually getting yourself into. And last year, I didn't think I was having a good race at all on the climb. Like I was hurting so bad. And like, Danny, you passed me. And I was like, she looks so good and like moving so well. And I'm like, I'm going backwards on this climb. And I was convinced I was having like the worst day last year. And then like we got to the flatter sections up top and I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like I hate climbing sucks. Like, and then it made for a good day. So this year I'm like excited to know like where the climb ends, like actually have that mentally in my head. And I've been doing a lot more fast stuff than I was last year. So I think it's going to be helpful. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of top returners. So I'm not really looking at place. I'm more like trying to go by time this year and hoping that like puts me somewhere good. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely smoke and mirrors on my end. I was not feeling good. But I remember when you passed me again and you were running so strong. So it was really cool to watch that and then to learn then later that you eventually got in the top 10 overall. I thought that was incredible because especially Sierre Zinal, I think for someone with your track background, it's like the perfect mix of your skills, right? Like I'm guessing that's maybe why you chose that as like, I think that was your first international race.
It was, yeah. We wanted to have a good experience.
I'd say that's a pretty good experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was a good one. And then, Pikes Peak followed. I was like, I don't know if I like trail running.
Yeah, very different races for sure.
I'm like, no flat at all.
You and I switched places in that headspace. Sierre Zinal was like, do I belong here? And then Pikes Peak, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm okay at this still.
Okay, like, I'm a baller. Yeah, this works.
So how has your training changed from last year aside from the increase in volume?
Yeah, I think it's just getting back to the roots of what I did a little bit more in college in the sense of like doing the speed work. Like last year, leaving our respective sports, we were like, we're not doing any workouts on the track. We're like, don't want to be on dirt roads anymore. We were just super burned out on like the speed aspect of things. And so we did a lot of workouts, just like not on really runnable trails, but we were just like, yeah, we'll do efforts on trails. And so like we never got that like speed specific work in at all. And so I think the biggest thing that changed is like we are getting on the track again and we're getting on the roads and we're doing like a lot of faster efforts because we enjoy it now. I think we just needed like the mental break from it. And so yeah, that's the biggest thing. And then just getting the legs strong, running uphill. It's not my favorite thing, but like here we are.
It's funny because I think that you are a really good uphill runner. I mean, you were the US champ last year and like you were second at Broken Arrow.
Hiking.
You were second at Broken Arrow behind Allie Mack, who ended up going and winning the world championships that year. And it's like, you're a good climber.
Doesn't mean I like it though.
True. I guess I'll take that as an answer.
Okay.
So final question would be, what are your goals or your tactics if you want to share any of that at all? Or is it just to have fun?
My goals, I want to be able to step away from the race being happy with it. I think that's my biggest goal is like executing a race that I feel like I didn't mentally give up in a section. And being able to be like, I was fully engaged the entire race, because I think like that's what I'm learning in these longer races, like from track to this, is like track is so short that you are mentally engaged in it the whole time. And you don't have an option to be like, wow, I'm really hurting, I'm going to back off and like, or get super negative on yourself, because it's like, it's 4 minutes plus. Like it's like, boom, you're done. And so just having that as the goal of like not mentally having like getting negative on myself. And I think if that happens, I think I'll have a great day. And hopefully another top 10.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd love to see a couple Americans in the top 10 this year again.
I know.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome. We'll miss you guys though.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
we'll be there in spirit.
We'll be there in spirit.
Top 10s in OCC then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deal.
Okay.
We'll shake on it.
Okay, it's a deal.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Tabor, for joining us today. And yeah, we look forward to cheering you on next weekend or this weekend when this comes out.
Guys. Yeah, this will be exciting.
Yeah.